Welcome to today's session. My name is Sabine Matharu. I am the founder of the Empower Me Hub, and today I have with me the amazing Misha Patel. And we are going to talk about From Triggers to Trust, the nervous system approach to parenting. And I'm super interested in this because I'm a parent myself. And if you're a parent and you're struggling, and no matter, I don't think it matters how old your children are, this is going to be a super duper session. So I'm just going to introduce to you who is Misha. Misha has a degree in psychology with lots of years of professional and personal experience, bringing a unique approach focusing on root cause resolution by integrating the principles of nervous system education, positive psychology, and various other somatic modalities to achieve a lifelong transformation. And Misha, we have met during a networking event, and I was super intrigued about what you were talking about, especially me as a parent. My children are now teenagers, so every so often I have a wobble myself being the parent and, thinking, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I'm a bad parent, and I think you said you can talk about this and how we can regulate ourselves as the nervous system and I guess how we feel about parents. So I'd love to introduce you, come to the stage, and just a little bit more about the topic, and look forward to seeing your presentation today.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here because I love teaching these things, purely because it changed my life, the way that I parent, the way that I am. And this doesn't matter if you're a parent or a caregiver. This workshop is going to be teaching you how to just come back into yourself and to parent with more compassion. Because when we start to understand ourselves, we see our children differently and our children see us differently. So as a parent myself, I know how difficult it can be to parent these days with work pressures, financial pressures, the rise in technology, social media. So this masterclass is going to teach you how you can understand what's going on inside of your body so you can take control of your reactions. And in turn, it helps you understand your child's behaviors. And when we do things differently, we get different results. So I'm really excited to be here today. Thank you for inviting me into the Empower Me Hub. Let's begin.
Okay.
So think of what we're going to be doing today as understanding your operating system. So the operating system underneath parenting. And when I mention the nervous system, a lot of people can be like, well, I don't understand it. I don't know what it is or why I need it. And what we're exploring today is the nervous system, but I want you to understand it in a really simple way because it helps you to know why you react even when you know better. Okay, it helps you understand what happens inside of your body during stress, how your state affects your child's state, and simple tools to shift from reaction to connection is what I want you to walk away with today. So your nervous system is a new way to understand yourself, and you can change, it should say you can't change what's happening, but you can change the way you feel about it. So most parents blame themselves for reactions that are actually biology, not character. And we're going to take the shame out of the conversation entirely. Instead of asking, why am I like this? Or why did I just react like this? I want you to shift to what's happening in my body right now. When you're critical and you ask yourself, why am I like this? Or why did I react like that? There's a lot of shame attached to that. And when you shift to what's happening in my body right now, you can do something about it. And the parenting question we all ask is, I know better. Why did I react like that? And your reactions, they're not mindset failure or a lack of willpower. They're actually a dysregulated nervous system or a body that's under a lot of pressure. And it's it's protecting you. So your body is protecting you faster than your logic can when you react from a place of being triggered. Okay, this could be when you walk in the door after a long day and your child melts down instantly. Okay, or if you've got a teenager, you might walk in and you can already see from your child's face that they've just ignored you. Okay. In your mind, you want to be patient, but your nervous system is already activated from the stressful day that you've had. So you react before you logically intend to. Okay, instead of getting curious, you might say, oh, what's happened? Why have you got a face like that? What's gone wrong, or what have I done? Okay. Or you're pushing your child away. Okay. Or you might be rushing out the door and your child refuses to put on their shoes. You've got a full day and you just want them to cooperate. Okay. They're not trying to make things harder, but your body hears this delay as pressure, and it marks this pressure as a threat. So your brain's going to react like threat, like there's a lion in the jungle and you're with it. Okay. Your tone changes before your thoughts catch up. You might be answering a work message and your child interrupts for the third time. You understand they want attention, but your nervous system is still in work mode, where interruption feels like danger to the task that you're doing. This is where that reactiveness shows up faster than calm. Your child might spill something while you're cooking. Okay? And you know that spills are normal, that they're just accidents or mistakes that happen. But your nervous system's overloaded with noise, with the heat, with planning, with sensory input, with all the to-do lists that you've got to do after. And that spill becomes too much in the moment. Your reaction isn't intentional. It's actually physiological. Your child might shout during a tantrum and then your whole body tenses. You believe in gentle parenting, but your nervous system interprets that loudness as chaos. So your body reacts before your rational mind gets the say. You might be emotionally drained from the day. Your child asks you something simple and you might just shut down. It's not that you don't care. It's just that your nervous system is in a freeze state. It's got no more capacity. And you temporarily can't access that part of you that just wants to respond calmly. The point is, you didn't react because you're a bad parent or because you didn't know what to do. You reacted because your nervous system moved into a survival state. Okay? And survival always comes before logic. And this workshop is to understand why that happens and how to change the pattern gently without shame. So we are going to look at the nervous system because it is the real foundation of parenting. Okay, it's your body's control center. It's basically your body's communication network. So it sends messages between your brain and the rest of your body all day long about breathing, emotions, stress, energy, movement, safety. And it decides whether you feel relaxed or anxious or shut down or connected or overwhelmed or steady. If your nervous system or the nervous system is what's in charge of controlling your stress responses, right? So if you are stressed, it's going to put you into this fight, flight, or freeze mode. Okay? It's also the system that allows you to laugh, to bond, to rest, to feel safe, to create, to think clearly. And that's why it's the real foundation of parenting. I want you to imagine your body as a house. Your nervous system is the wiring that everything runs through. Okay, so the wiring for your house, the electricity, all of the devices that are connected, that's your nervous system. And that's why it's so important, because when your wiring is overloaded or you're stressed or you're running in survival mode, everything is affected. Okay, when it's supported and regulated, everything flows more easily. So, why is your nervous system important with parenting? It's because it shapes your patience, your tone, your communication, your boundaries, your ability to stay present, and your child's sense of safety. So we often parent from the mind, but parenting truly begins with our state. It's what we feel. Kids feel our state before they hear our words. And it doesn't matter how old they are. Okay, so think about when you're stressed. Your children will always play up more. Yet when you're calm, they're a lot calmer. Or even if they're not, they calm down a lot quicker because they can co-regulate with you. And this is your nervous system. It influences how you show up in every part of your life. It isn't separate from your life, okay? It runs your life. And when it's dysregulated, it's going to affect your emotions. You're going to feel more reactive. You're going to feel overwhelmed or shut down. Not because you're dramatic or because you can't parent. It's just because your nervous system is activated. It's going to affect your thoughts. It's much harder to think clearly, make decisions, trust your judgment when you're in protection mode. It's going to affect your energy. You're going to be stuck in a state of fight, flight, freeze, exhaustion, burnout. They all become normal, and even just engaging with your child and playing with them becomes difficult. It's going to affect your boundaries. A regulated nervous system makes it easier to say no, to hold your truth, and to stay steady under pressure. It's going to affect your communication. Your state depends whether you have grounded conversations or whether stress takes over your voice and your reactions. It's going to affect your ability to rest. Okay, the ability to relax is physiological. You can't rest deeply if your body doesn't feel safe. It's going to affect your relationships because they require connection, and connection requires safety. If your nervous system is overwhelmed, connection becomes harder, not because you don't want to be close to somebody, but because your body is protecting you. And it's also going to affect your self-trust. When you're regulated, you feel more anchored, you feel more confident, you feel more clear. I say all of this because a lot of people think that the nervous system is just about feeling calm. Doing nervous system work is all about just grounding and feeling calm, but it's so much bigger than that. And it impacts your identity, your choices, your relationships, your success, your confidence, and how you move through the world. And this is why understanding your nervous system is life-changing. It's why I'm sharing this with you today. And once you know how your body works, you stop fighting with yourself and you start working with your biology instead. So you don't need to know the science. It doesn't have to be complicated. You know, the nervous system sounds really complicated, but I just want you to think of it as the factor that decides your reactions faster than your thinking brain. Yeah, so it's your internal traffic control system. It decides when you feel steady, when you feel stressed, when you feel overwhelmed, even before you realize it. And a simple way to remember it is with this traffic lights of tolerance. Because your nervous system moves through these states every day, just like a traffic light. Okay, it's always moving through red, amber, green. Okay, or green, amber, red. So your nervous system is moving through these states daily. And what we want is a flexible nervous system where we don't get stuck in the amber or the red. We want to be able to come back to green and feel safe and regulated. Your red is your danger. Think of it like being in the jungle with a lion. You're going to freeze. You're going to be shut down. Your amber is the fight flight. Okay, am I going to fight the lion or am I going to run away? What does my body do? It reacts in that way. Safe is where we want to be. Okay, instead of thinking in terms of good and bad, I actually just want you to think of these in states. Okay, the scientific names are freeze, which is dorsal vagal. The amber, which is fight flight, is our sympathetic state. And the safe and regulated is our ventral vagal state, which is our green. Okay, they're all there for a purpose to keep you safe. But a lot of us can get angry and then we can get really critical of ourselves. I'm going to start with the safe and describe that a bit more, because this is where we want to aim to be, and we want to develop the flexibility to be able to come back to this as quickly as possible. And when your nervous system feels grounded and supported, you can think clearly, you can connect easily, and you can stay present. So I want you to think of the green traffic light as access to your full authentic self. It's your ability to respond instead of react. It's connection, it's presence, it's openness. And it's not a constant state. Okay, the goal isn't to be there 24/7. It's just the baseline of your safety. If you then perceive a threat or danger, it could be a real threat or danger, or it could just be a perception. Okay, like, for example, your child not cooperating. This is when we go into that fight flight. We get activated. Your body believes that something needs your energy, your attention, or action. Okay, it's a threat or a perceived threat. So I want you to think of the amber, the fight flight, as that urgency energy, tension, speed, overthinking, reactivity, or restlessness. And everyone experiences multiple times a day this amber state. We need it. You could be running late, you could receive a difficult text message, you could be navigating conflict or feeling pressure. It's not harmful unless you get stuck there. If you can't then get out of that to feel safe, your nervous system will upgrade the threat to a danger. Okay, so this is when you become so overwhelmed that it literally hits the brakes and says danger. The red traffic light, we stop. So I want you to think of the red as feeling numb, flat, having low energy, feeling disconnected. I can't do this, or my mind's gone blank. You can enter that red after too much amber, too much stress, too much pressure, too little support. Okay, again, it's not wrong, it's not dramatic, it's not personal, it's just a state. When you can understand your own states and what they are reacting to, you can stop blaming yourself and you can actually get curious. You can understand what your body is doing and why. A lot of the times we just let this control us. Okay, but I want you to be able to say, okay, I'm in my amber. I need regulation. Or I've hit my red. Okay, at work, it's been a really stressful day. I need some gentleness and grounding before I go back home. This is where that regulation becomes practical and possible. So this traffic light model is what I want you to remember. It gives you a clear, just compassionate map of your internal world. So you can think of this in the future. Everyone's states are going to show up differently though. Okay, your red might look like after a full day of meetings, you just sit in the car outside the house, needing a moment. Okay, that's just shut down. You just need to pause. It's not a weakness. Okay. The amber, you might be late for the school run and your child refuses to put their shoes on. You go into that urgency because you need to be somewhere. The green is where we want to be able to come back to. This is just those moments of laughter where you're present with your child, you're listening, you're connecting. It might be reading a book. It might be you telling a story. This is you being present. And it's where co-regulation is in full action. You might start your morning in the green, but then by the time you're home from work, you're cooking, your child shouts, your phone pings, your partner asks you a question, you might lose it. Okay, that's just your nervous system responding to the whole day. It's not that single moment. So we have to start getting curious and being aware. And what I do want you to remember is that regulation is about that awareness and making your way back to safety, to feeling green, groundedness more easily and more often. I don't want you to think that you've got to be calm all the time because no one can do that. It's just an anchor state. It's where your system feels supported. I get a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I got triggered, and they think of it as a bad thing. It's not. It's just when you get curious with it and you take that shame out of it, you start to understand that it was protecting you. And then the next time your body will react in a different way because actually you've recognized what you're feeling and you've done something about it. So that green is just the place that you return to when your body feels safe again. And the more that we can stay in the green, the more we will build that flexibility to get back into it. Think of it as that anchor. So you might say to me, but Misha, why do I just react when I don't want to? I can't control it. I just automatically react. And it's because you snap, shut down, withdraw, feel overwhelmed when you're stressed, because stress is perceived as a threat or danger. It's not always what's happening in that moment, remember. Sometimes it can be a small unrelated thing, but your thinking brain will go offline. So your survival brain, it switches on whenever it perceives a threat or danger. Anything that takes you away from the present moment, that gets you stuck in your head or that gets you thinking about solving a problem, your thinking brain, your rational thinking brain switches off and your survival brain switches on. And that's why when you're stressed, you can't parent with logic. Okay, it's because your body isn't feeling safe. So when you react, it's just your rational brain not being available in that moment. It's not always a real threat, right? It could just be a messy room. but your body responds like it's a real threat because of associations that you've created. So you might be feeling like you've got lots to get done, okay? And the interpretation of a messy room is, oh my God, I've got a deadline at work. This room's messy. Like now I've got to clean it, or when am I going to find time to clean it? I don't have capacity right now. We don't recognize this because it happens subconsciously. It's a process that we call neuroception. And I want you to think of neuroception as your safety radar. It's your body's like inbuilt surveillance system. It's constantly scanning your environment without you realizing. It's constantly scanning your external world, your internal world, to decide whether you feel safe or threatened. And this is the key part, because it is subconscious. So it happens before you even think about it. Okay, think of it like walking. We don't think left foot, right foot, left foot, right? We just do it. And that's exactly what your nervous system does. It just responds. So that's why when a child shouts, or that messy room, or the rush morning, or being interrupted can feel like a threat, even though you consciously know it isn't. It feels like a threat because your body is scanning for tone, energy, tension, chaos, loudness, past memories, internal pressure. And that neuroception picks up on things like subtle shifts, the look on someone's face, how close someone stands, whether a conversation feels safe or sharp. All day it's constantly doing this. It looks at your own heartbeat, your breath, your muscle tension, your gut sensations. And you've got to remember that it's scanning your internal world as well as your external world. So think of it like this internal risk detector. And it matters because your nervous system reacts based on this. So it's not logic. It's simply emotions that it's reacting on, because emotions override logic when a threat or danger is perceived. And that's why when you're stressed, you're already, you've got these deadlines and stuff. That messy room can feel like a threat. But if you were off for 2 weeks, you might not necessarily react because that messy room wouldn't necessarily feel like a threat. So think of it like a smoke alarm. It goes off fast, sometimes because there's a real danger, or sometimes just because the toast is burnt. Your body is wired to act fast and then analyze later. And it's important because when you understand your body's reactions come from automatic safety scans from past experiences, you can stop fighting yourself and you can actually start to begin to heal and get curious. So instead of thinking, I shouldn't react like this, you shift to, my body picked up a cue. What am I feeling? Where does this come from? How can I support it right now? What do I need to give to myself? This is where that regulation becomes empowering, compassionate, and actually doable. Okay? You can also reclaim your power, because when you're triggered, you might not be able to change the circumstance, right? But you can change the way that you feel about it. So one of the most important things to remember and understand about stress is that your thinking brain and your survival brain can't be in charge at the same time, right? So when you're triggered, your rational thinking brain will go offline. And that's when your ability to problem solve completely drops. Your logical thinking disappears. Your reactions become faster than your thoughts. And this is your survival wiring doing exactly what it's designed to do. So in that moment of stress or overwhelm, your body is going to prioritize protection over logic. It just basically says we don't have time to analyze. We just need to react. And that's why you might blank out, your mind goes foggy, you can't find the right words. And this doesn't just relate to parenting, right? It relates to life. You might freeze or shut down. You might shout, you might scream. You say things you don't mean. And then you can't think clearly until the moment has passed. So your rational brain, it helps with communication, empathy, planning, boundaries, clarity. And what we need to do is we need to come back online and drop back into our bodies where we feel safe or in the present moment. So then you can have choice. You can clearly think. You can have compassion. You can repair. You can have self-awareness, and you can lead, have that emotional leadership, self-leadership. Okay, so your reactions stop feeling shameful, and we're working with our body instead of fighting it. So how do we drop into feeling safe, and how do we increase that nervous system flexibility? The key player to go from triggers to trust is your vagus nerve. So that is the part of your nervous system that influences your heart rate, your breathing pattern, your tone of voice, your expression, your how safe and connected you feel with others around you, your digestive system, your emotional stability, your ability to relax, your ability to return to calm after stress. It's basically involved in every part of your stress and safety system. If you've ever had a gut feeling, that's your vagus nerve. If your chest tightens when you're stressed, that's your vagus nerve. If someone's voice soothes you, it's your vagus nerve. If you freeze or shut down, it's your vagus nerve. So it's your body's main pathway for safety and connection. And it runs from your brainstem through your face, your throat, your lungs, your shoulders, down to your gut. So it's the bridge between your emotional world and your physical world. And if you're somebody that's been in a stress state for a long time, you might find that you get TMJ or tension in your jaw. You might clench your jaw. You might get tense shoulders, gut issues. And this is all your vagus nerve. So when your vagus nerve has flexibility, it's active and responsive. You can come back to safety fast. You can calm down after stress. You can feel steady under pressure. You can think clearly. All of these things that we've already mentioned. But when it's underactive and it doesn't have that flexibility, you might get stuck in that fight flight. You might struggle to relax, or you just shut down. You feel emotionally flooded. You have a tight chest or shallow breath. You find it difficult to connect, to parent. Okay, you might feel anxious. You might feel numb. Think of this as physiology. So your vagus nerve is like your body's emotional brake pedal. When it's functioning well, it helps you slow the system down after activation, like a car. Okay, if your brakes work, you basically feel safe when you're driving. If they don't work, you're going to be panicked. Everything's going to feel a lot harder. So when we regulate, we're essentially activating the vagus nerve in gentle, supportive ways. And that's what helps your system come back to green. It's what helps you feel safe again. It helps you feel present. It helps you be that parent you want to be. It restores your clarity, your presence, and your emotional capacity as well. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to engage your senses, because that neuroception that's scanning, that radar that's constantly scanning, is using your senses. And a simple tool when you feel triggered is to use this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what are 5 things that I can see? You don't have to use them all the time. Okay, but even like, let's say when you're driving, you might get stuck in your thoughts. You can think, okay, can I look for 5 blue signs? It just brings you out of your body and it brings you almost back online again. When we go into that amber or that red, we go offline. Think of it like unplugging the router. Okay, you lose your internet. But when we come back and we engage our senses, we come back to the present moment, we're back online again. You're back here and now. Like I like to call it, like with my children, I like to call it, we're back on earth. We've landed again. So what are 5 things you can see? What are 4 things that you feel or you can touch? Okay, what do your sit bones feel like on your seat, for example? Or what can you touch that's around you? What does your mouse feel like, or your keys on your keyboard? We don't normally think about these things, so we're just coming back online and we're really thinking about what we're doing consciously. 3 things you can hear. Okay, when it's really, really quiet, we might be able to hear some traffic on the road in the distance. You might just be able to hear like air. You might be able to hear your laptop charging or your fridge buzzing. 3 things you can smell. 2 things you can smell, sorry. So even if we've got nothing, you can just smell your laundry detergent on your clothes. Okay, or you might want to smell a candle or a scent, your aftershave, your perfume. And then 1 thing you can taste. You might not be able to describe it if you've not had anything. If you've had your morning coffee, you might be able to taste that. You might be able to taste your lunch. But sometimes we can't necessarily describe it, but there is still a taste when we think about it. That is engaging your senses. It's taking you out of your mind where you are either worried about the future or you're stuck in the past. And it's bringing you back online again to the here and now. So you might think, I've tried this, it doesn't work. And if that's the case, then it's because different states need different things, and you might be more activated. You might be more stressed for a long period of time where you're in your red. And when you're in your red, you do need more gentle re-engagement. Think of it like you're in the jungle with a lion. Okay, because that's how your brain does respond. Sadly, we haven't evolved to this world that we live in right now. So think of it as just back to the caveman days. Your brain is going to respond like you're in that jungle with the lion. And if you can't fight it, and if you can't run away, and you're in this stress state for a long period of time, you are going to be in a free state. And that's why one universal tool won't work for every state. Your body needs different things depending on whether you're in your green, your amber, or your red. And if you're in your red, you're not going to have energy. If you're in the jungle with the lion, you need to conserve your energy to either fight or to flight, like run away when the lion's not looking. So in the red, you're in a shutdown state. Your blood flow is going towards your organs to keep you alive. You don't need movement or intensity. You just need softness. So I want you to think of it as warmth or micro movements or soft, predictable tones, low stimulation, slow pacing, presence. Okay? Grounding through touch or warmth is really, really helpful. When you're in your amber, you might need to discharge some energy, because if your body is constantly preparing you to fight, flight, you're going to have energy. So we are mobilized in this state. Okay? So you either have too much energy or you're under pressure in that state. So you're trying to calm down it's not going to work, right? You're probably thinking to yourself, well, I just want to calm down. I don't want to feel this way, but it's not going to work because your body isn't calm. It's activated. Think of this like with a child, right? When they are throwing a tantrum and you tell them to calm down, they can't because they're activated. So what amber actually needs is some movement. It needs longer exhales. It needs space. You might need pacing. You might need softening like your tone because you're feeling angry or you're getting worked up. You might need to let your shoulders drop. Okay, this releases the activation safely. And this is why people get frustrated when things like deep breathing doesn't work, because amber needs a release before it can find calm. You might need to go for a quick walk and then you can calm yourself down. Yeah. Green. So when you're in the green, you just need support to stay steady. So that's maintaining. Okay, so it's not like overcorrecting. You're regulated, you're grounded, you're connected, and your job is simply to stay connected to yourself. And that looks like small things. Just mindful breathing, being present. Okay, so green isn't fragile, but it does need support. Trying to motivate or push or snap out of being shut down or in your fight flight is only going to deepen it. And that's why we want to come back through safety with compassion, not pressure, with curiosity, and just recognizing what you need in the moment. One of my favorite tools to use is my breath, because you can tell your body you're safe by your breath. So think of your breath like that remote control for your nervous system. If you're in the jungle with the lion, you're going to be like shallow, quick breaths because your body's trying to prepare. It's got that adrenaline, it's got that cortisol. It's trying to get you to prepare to fight or to flight. And even if you're just stuck in there, your breath might be a bit slower, but it's still not going to be breathing into your belly because you don't feel safe. So with this breath reset, okay, we breathe in through our nose and we breathe out through our mouths slowly. And what this does with that vagus nerve is it activates it. Okay? It activates your vagus nerve to say that I'm safe right now. I'm breathing slowly. I'm not in danger. What I want you to do is I want you to aim to breathe into your belly. And it might be difficult if you've been in a stress state for a long time. And the way to notice that is if you take a deep breath in and your shoulders rise, then you're chest breathing. And we want to practice breathing into our belly like there's a balloon in there. So this will take practice. You won't get it right the first time. I don't want you to also get caught up with the numbers. This is more about just guidance. But you want to breathe in through your nose. You want to hold it for a few moments. And then your exhale wants to be longer. Hold. Breathing out through your mouth. Think of it like blowing out a candle. And you can also add in the psychological sigh here, which just allows your body to release and relax. Breathing in, hold, and then if you're to do this, if you're stressed at work during the day, no one really needs to know that you're doing it. If you go in, like in the car, before you go into work, or before you go back to home, after work, even just before you put that key in the door, just calming your nervous system down a little bit, bringing it back to the present moment, it's going to help you. Even if you're at home and something's happened, your teenager is in a grumpy mood, just taking a few deep breaths before you approach a situation is going to allow you to respond rather than react. Okay, it's bringing your brain back online because you're coming out of your head and your focus is coming to your body and what you're feeling. We're basically checking in because a moment of awareness can change your day, and asking yourself what your body is doing right now is bringing you back online. You're plugging that router back in. So if you feel heavy or shut down, that red, okay, that warmth that I said, think of it as just a hand on your chest or a warm drink. Think of it as soft music that you can listen to. Small movements, just wiggling your toes or stretching your fingers, okay, or just sitting somewhere comfortable and just breathing naturally. Don't get too focused on the breath. Just recognizing that this is what's going on in my body right now will help you to shift that state. If you feel stressed or activated, gentle movement. Okay, shaking out your hands, rolling your shoulders, just stepping away for 10 seconds. A slower, longer exhale. Okay, or looking around the room just to find something steady that just engages your senses again. And if you already feel steady and you're in that green, you feel safe, you want to just do things that help you stay connected. So you're looking at your body and you're thinking, okay, what's helping me to feel grounded? Softening your shoulders, slowing your voice. Just doing one thing that supports that, listening to some calm music that you enjoy or singing. Noticing your breath, your posture. Am I tense or am I relaxed? Your body tells you what it needs. The problem we have is we don't listen. We get very stuck in our heads because as soon as that danger or threat is perceived, we disconnect. Okay? Our brain and our mind disconnects from what we're feeling in the body. And the reason why we want to do this is because that co-regulation matters. Okay? Your children are going to dysregulate when you dysregulate. And they're going to regulate when you regulate. Okay? This picture here is showing this glass. And I want you to think of it like your energy bucket. You know, on the plane, they always say, put your oxygen mask on first before you help anyone else. Because if you've got your mask on, you can help others. If you go and try to help your child before you help yourself, your child can't help you. So when we have high pressure jobs or we're already stretched thin, deadlines, teams, bosses, colleagues, clients, emails, dinner, housework, your spouse, multiple kids, the school emails, remembering what uniform they need to wear, okay? We think, let me tick off the to-do list first. But I actually want you to think, no, I'm going to stop. I'm going to check in with myself and I'm going to fill up my energy bucket first. Because when my cup is overflowing, I can give the best of me to those around me. If you're trying to parent from an empty cup, you're not going to be able to be the parent you want to be. If you're prioritizing even your children, okay, a lot of us can get into this mindset of, oh my God, I've spent the whole day doing this work. Like, it's selfish now if I think about myself, but you don't need to neglect your children. You just need to give yourself that 5 minutes to check in with yourself and think, okay, is my cup overflowing? If my cup's not overflowing, let me parent. What can I do to make my cup overflow when the kids have gone to bed? Okay, what's that fun thing that I can do that I really enjoyed when I was a child? It could be singing, coloring, playing. Can I have some social time where I can just be myself and not being mum or dad, not being employee or sister or wife or husband or partner or colleague or, all of these things? When can I just be me? Even if it's just taking 5 minutes or 10 minutes before bed to read a book. You can even just write a list of like positive qualities that you have to remind yourself of who you are as a person. Because we can have all these other responsibilities, and when we prioritize that, our brain is going to say threat or danger. So prioritize yourself, because when you're your best and your cup is overflowing, you can help fill up other people's cups. So you might say to me, but I tried this, I've already done it and it doesn't work. And that's because titration matters. So titration is one of the most important principles when it comes to somatic work using our nervous system. It means that we don't just jump from 0 to full intensity. Okay? We take small, manageable steps. And I want you to think of it like an elastic band, because when we stretch an elastic band, it is going to contract again. So we want to take small, manageable steps, okay? Little sips of activation. Just think of it like filling up a sink, one drop at a time. When you keep stretching and stretching this elastic band, eventually it loses its elasticity. And we can then come back to feeling safe and regulated much faster. It doesn't feel as difficult. So think of titration like adjusting a dimmer switch instead of flipping a light on and off. Okay. So we want to stay within what you can handle. Don't try and think that you're going to go from feeling stressed to being this really soft, grounded parent, because it's not going to happen. You just want to do it slowly. Notice those early sensations, not the full storm. Okay? Build capacity gently, not forcefully. We want to pair activation with grounding so the system learns that it's safe. Okay? And that's how we start to build resilience. It's how our nervous system learns that I can move through this. Okay? One drop at a time, because too much, too fast will feel difficult. It won't work. You're going to have even more pressure, and you're going to go into that stress state rather than doing it from a place of building new neural pathways to help you to feel safe. So titration looks like just taking out a minute rather than 10 minutes, okay? Or feeling that tension in your chest maybe for 2 seconds and then coming back for safety. Pausing, okay, just halfway through activation to take a breath. Just a little pause. Or taking one step, not trying to leap to the finish line. And also, don't be afraid of being triggered or activated, because we do need to have a little bit of activation to have this pendulation. Okay? It's like a natural rhythm that your nervous system already has, and you've just never been taught to recognize it. Think of it like we're trying to gently move between activation and safety in small, manageable ways. We are just doing this. Okay, and then when we get used to that, we expand a little bit more, and then that and that. Okay, so it might sound complicated, but think of it like the tide coming in and out. Okay, it doesn't rush, it doesn't force, it just flows in small rhythmic waves. And that's what I want you to do. So we're just gently moving between activation and then returning to safety. You won't be able to stay there all the time. And that's why this is important. Because when you move between activation and safety in tiny steps, your nervous system learns this new way of feeling safe. It says, I can experience intensity without getting stuck in it. I can come back to safety. I'm capable of moving through stress. It's how you build that emotional resilience. not by avoiding activation, not by pushing through it, but just gently moving with your system. Teaches your body that I can feel something difficult and come back to safety again. And it works because chronic stress traps us. It traps us in that activation state, and then burnout collapses us. Think of as chronic stresses in the amber, the fight flight, and burnout is in the red. And that pendulation just reintroduces that movement slowly. It shows our body that we're feeling safe, just gives that flexibility that we're looking for. So you can notice a sensation, you can notice a little bit of activation, just acknowledge it for 2 to 5 seconds, and then think, okay, how can I breathe into this? How can I bring some grounding or warmth? How can I come back into my body in small waves? Don't wait until you sink. So we want to practice regulation when you feel safe. You don't learn to swim in the deep end of a swimming pool. You learn to swim where your feet can touch the floor. And that's why I want you to use these tools. And I want you to learn grounding tools. You might not be able to meditate because your body doesn't feel safe. But how can you just land back into your body by acknowledging what you're feeling? Okay, where's that tension? Can I breathe into it? But do this when you're feeling safe. Don't wait for you to be triggered. Don't wait to go home to chaos, or to when you've got a whole to-do list. Do this when you're also feeling safe, like when you're on your journey to work. Instead of working on the train, can you just stay present? Okay, can you just look at what's around you? Can you engage your nervous system? So practicing when we feel safe, it just means your baseline becomes stronger and you're building this window for activation. The techniques become familiar. So you're training your brain of what to do when it has challenges. So it can say that I feel safe with challenges. If you're pushed into the deep end, you know how to swim back up. So practice when you're already calm or just a little bit stressed, when you first wake up, when you're in a safe environment, when you're with someone you trust. Because safety is where our system learns, but activation is where it applies it. So what matters the most is that nervous system-led parenting is not about perfection, because you will still react sometimes, you'll still get overwhelmed, but now you know why and what to do next. So I want you to take away from this how to learn and notice your state. Okay, understand your triggers, like what is making me feel this way. Pause for a moment, breathe, and then repair what's needed. Thank you for joining me today for live. Before we close for questions, I just wanted to show you where this sits in the bigger journey that I take my clients through. What we did today is regulation, and it's just a very, very small part of my 7-step roadmap to resilience. It's the foundation for everything else: your boundaries, your relationships, your triggers, your patterns, your self-worth, your connection, your stability, your success. Okay. And as we're limited for time, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So if you do struggle with this, you struggle with applying what you've learned or coming back to safety, please do get in touch with me. In my one-to-one transformational coaching package, we go even deeper. We recognize what your triggers are, where they come from. And I fuse together psychology, neuroscience, somatic practices that allow you to get to the root cause and also release what your body is holding onto. So you can change your mindset. You can create a stronger sense of self. You can heal your body. We can reduce that stress. And I basically teach you to take your healing into your own hands. And when you can do that, you build this resilience. It's once in a lifetime, because you can't unlearn what you learn. And not everyone will experience post-traumatic growth. But when we can overcome safety and we can learn how to manage what we're feeling, you can live in self-leadership. So let's celebrate you showing up for your nervous system today, because your presence matters, your awareness matters, you're willing to understand your body makes a difference. And that's the beginning of a new relationship with yourself and the way that you parent with your children or your child. It's going to be a new relationship built on clarity, compassion, and choice. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'll stop sharing.
Wow, Misha, this has been unbelievably amazing. And I was just nodding my head as we're going through and thinking about certain situations where I was very triggered, and you've given some amazing insights and also some techniques how to actually get grounded again, and just being present, and just even just the breathing is so calming. So it's been fabulous. There's a few questions that I had in my mind here as to, quite often we're, and by the way, anyone who's watching right now or is watching the replay, please just post your questions and we'll get to them now. This is a little bit of a Q&A time we have together before we wrap up. I wonder, is there a distinct, like, how do you know that we're triggered versus being tired? I think there's a gray area here, because we can quite often feel like at the edge, and I guess if someone just asks you some small thing, you're like tipped over.
Yeah. So if you're tired, you're also not listening to your body, right? So that is going to be a threat. Your nervous system is going to be in the fight flight if you are tired, because it's saying, why are you not looking after me? Like, why are you so tired? Why are you not listening to me? So that's the key to come into our body, because if we parent from being tired, we are going to be easily triggered. We're going to be a lot more sensitive. We're not going to be able to stay rational and calm, because our body sees being tired as a threat. As human beings, we're not supposed to be tired all the time. But we live in a world that is so fast paced that we are tired. And it's probably because we're not sleeping enough, or we're scrolling before bedtime. We need to actually listen to our bodies when it's yawning at 8 p.m. and not sit there till 11, 12 o'clock on Netflix.
Yeah, I get that. And the scrolling before bedtime does not actually do you good either.
You sleep activated. When we're scrolling, our phones are actually putting us in that fight flight. It's a stress response. Yeah.
And then we probably compare ourselves because someone on Instagram posted that they're gone on holiday or what have you, and all of this is happening, isn't it?
Yeah. And it just keeps us even more stressed.
Yeah.
So key is in that moment. In that moment, I want you to think, okay, I'm tired. My cup is empty. What can I do to fill my cup up, to be less tired?
Yeah. Brilliant. I'm not seeing any questions right now, so I'm just going to go to the close. Thank you so much, Misha. You are already inside the Empower Me Hub, and I'm super, super excited to have you as one of our experts now. And maybe, some of you might think, what is this Empower Me Hub? Well, basically, we've already spoken about that. There's so many different triggers and so many different situations that people are going through. And so I'm just going to share a little bit of a summary of what it is and an invitation. And we're thinking about this Empower Me Hub as a space where whole humans, like as humans, can be whole and can be actually working on the different elements, because we just spoken about stress. We actually talked about burnout and how stress can lead to burnout. And then that could mean that you have a lack of motivation at work, for example, or you have experiencing anxiety or frustration. Maybe you're battling some sort of system, your boss at work, or dealing with toxic culture and politics around you. And maybe you're feeling there's no way out, or there's a mix of all these things. And that's why we have actually created this Empower Me Hub, because all of this is going to impact heavily on performance and health at work, and also impact your home lives, your friends, your family, your children. And so we set out to go and find amazing speakers, and they come with resources like Misha today to help put together a whole library and a community of like-minded people who are working perhaps towards their pay rise. Perhaps it's also well-being. So you can see here is a collateral of things that we have already inside the hub itself. It is an all-in-one career well-being, life, community, and a training hub. And we want to give everyone kind of a quick win, because I think we all strive to next level, and that may be next level in career, but also next level in ourselves. So in the first 30 days, when you come into the hub, we have an experience for you, like a challenge that you can work through, that can help you actually closing the skill gaps, help you with your well-being, with your work-life balance. And of course, you can tap into Misha's resources and connect with her as well. And if you'd like to book and work with her on a more one-to-one basis, then there is a special a package there for you as well as a member. And yeah, this is for you if you're tired of perhaps seeing less qualified colleagues pass you by, you feel under-recognized, you want to earn more, you're ready to grow, or you are ready to just become a better parent all over. And, when we are better at home, and I guess we're feeling, or we know how to regulate stress, and it could be also regulate stress at work, then, obviously we are performing better. We will get that recognition, and we will be higher performing, and will be able to be more creative, have better decision-making skills. All of these things will really, really help progressing career and also home life. Now we have holistic training that will help you enable your career growth, but it also includes other areas in life. And we want to really make it fun and not like the old boring sort of training, but give you also steps for implementation and ongoing support and accountability. When you get started, you'll have a clear pathway where you do, like Misha's showing a little circle there to say, okay, where does this actually fit in the grand scheme of things? So we're going to give you one of these circles to look around. Okay, what are my priorities in my life? Where do I feel I want to work, do the work first, and what do I want to start with, so that you're not overwhelmed and you can actually achieve smaller goals step by step. And the beauty is you're actually control of your own career, of your own well-being. You don't have to wait for your employer to actually help you with this, because quite often employers don't have that kind of program, whilst they have certain support, but it actually stops. I rarely see anyone doing some sort of parenting support at work. So actually have everything in one place, and you can just enjoy, and you can work on your own skill sets that you want to up level, and you can do that in your own time, in your own space. And you can also take this from place to place. If you choose to change your career, then obviously you can just take all these resources with you. And if you choose to become an entrepreneur, we also have a pathway inside the Empower Me Hub for you to do that. And of course, the beauty is we have a community where we have shared experiences. You can ask questions, you can connect with experts, and every day we have something in there that you can take away, a little golden nugget, a little inspiration and motivation as well. And so, yeah, as you can see here, what's the layout? We've got lots of different sort of tiles, and you can go in and watch already pre-recorded workshops, but we also have a calendar where we do live trainings and Q&As as well. So, for example, we have here career development, mental, physical, emotional well-being, then home life, which is Misha's talk will go into the home life section, because this is about parenting, for example, right? We also have the leadership, self-leadership, team leadership. And I guess this talk could also live in a self-leadership space, because it's about nervous system regulation, and it could also be part of the well-being section, because it is such a crossover. As you can see, this is just a very comprehensive place where you can get a lot of support all in one place. So we've got the community here. I'm just showing you how the inside might look once you join. There's a community thread. It's not a social media portal. It's actually a safe space. You're not going to get ads and things like this, or people hitting you up. So it's a safe, small space behind a closed door. So you need a username and a password to get in here. We also have a calendar, so we would actually post any live events that are happening, and you can come and join us there. And then we also have the classroom where we also put all the trainings in there, any replays if you can't make the live calls. And of course, we have mini sprints and the 30-day challenge to get you quick wins in the beginning. So if you're interested to come and join us inside the Empower Me Hub, I'm going to just leave a link here. We've got a 7-day free trial, by the way, so you can literally come in here, have a look around, and if you really don't like it, of course you can cancel. We're not holding you hostage, and you can just come in on a monthly based fee as well. So again, it's very flexible. It's very low cost as well. So if you're ready, come and join. We've got the 50% off lifetime at the moment. As a special because of Misha, and yeah, Misha is obviously one of our amazing experts in there, and you can connect a bit more in detail. So Misha, you're in there, you've seen the hub. What would you say anyone who's looking to come and join, any wise words or nuggets that you have picked up?
I think it's a really good space to have all the support that you need, because sometimes it's so hard to figure out, okay, what do I need right now? So it's got so many different elements that we as human beings, we have struggled with so many different things, like you said, work, home life, and everything is in one place. So if emotionally you're struggling, you can just click on it. It's so simple, it's so easy, and it flows. So you don't have to think about Googling it and researching and going through all of these different resources. It's all just in one space.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing why we've created it, because otherwise you have to buy like 3 or 4 or 5 memberships to be able to cover all of the different elements. And I think the beauty as well, I mean, sometimes we need more support, and that's why people like yourself as one of our experts is in there, and people don't have to go and search their own experts, because it's all about who do you know, and you know, who can you actually trust, and who is really an expert in a field, who has, you know, the experience and can really help with the transformation. And that's where we're really hot on. When we are seeking speakers, we do a very thorough job of looking at their backgrounds before we invite them in to become a guest expert and a guest coach in essence as well. So yeah, very excited. And I'm also very excited because next year we would like to offer this portal to organizations as a whole and bring in whole teams, because the you know, the way the portal is built, it's really, really easy to set this up. And we can also create just portals for companies in themselves, for organizations, like as a tailored, because we can just provide all the courses and the coaching and everything else in for their own organization. So again, please get in touch if you have an inquiry for sort of larger things. I think, Misha, you also hold workshops in organizations, so we can add that as well. So there's loads and loads of opportunities. So there's one-to-ones, there's workshops, and there's a whole organizational rollout possible as well. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you inside the hub. And yeah, let us know how you found this talk. We'll do some more of these talks in the coming month, of course, and we'll post a replay inside the community as well. Thank you very much, Misha. It's been a real pleasure, and appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having